All right, guys, what's going on? Let's get this thing started. This is our hike at Quarry Trails, the Metro Park. We definitely enjoyed it. Oh, we got Zoro there doing what Zoro does. So today we're going to talk about off-leash walking. So it's definitely a hot topic. Some people are into it, some people aren't. A lot of areas, you can't really have your dog off-leash. But there are some things that go into it that I think are important that we should discuss. First things first, is it really worth it? Man. I mean, a lot of times I don't think it is. I really only do it in very secluded areas that I'm familiar with, kind of know where the dogs might be, and I'm always aware of the situation. So that comes to the first point, where to do it at. Oh, here we go. Guys that are running around. This little area right here is perfect. If somebody wanted to train or get started, it's a pretty secluded area. It's blocked off. You can see if there's any cars coming from either side. So if there are, you have plenty of time to get your dog back to your side. But if you're not comfortable with your dog being this far away, then obviously there's some other things to work on before we would do some off-leash training. So one of the things on how to do it, I think one of the best ways to practice is using the flexi leash. The flexi leash will allow your dog to have a lot of freedom and roam around. And then you can also see the triggers for your dog, which things your dog will kind of lunge to, which thing your dogs will ignore. And then you can kind of have a better understanding of how to train that. And then also when they are off leash, keeping an eye out for those certain things, like maybe squirrels, ducks, obviously dogs are people, but you'll understand how far they are from you when they kind of react. And not saying reactive, just like look over, tempting, like if they're debating on going over or staying by you. So with that, when your dog gets far out like this, you would just recall your dog. When they come back to you on the flexi leash, you give them a treat. And obviously that just reinforces, you being valuable. And then also with that being said, whenever your dog looks at you and gives you eye contact, say yes or whatever your marker is, and then reward again. So you do have to be carrying some treats on you at all times, or whatever your dog likes to use for motivation, if that's toys or whatever that might be. Another thing going into that with the flexi leash, also when you're practicing, just go to a park, and just practice having your dog staying by you. Have a command. Ours is follow, which just means you need to stay next to me. It's not like a focused heel staring up at me. Nothing like that. It's just, when it's on follow, you're stand by me. If I stop walking, you stop walking. And we'll go into that also, like really important commands that you should definitely be using with this. So another place to practice is midday walks. So if you're at an apartment complex, honestly, you should probably practice somewhere else, just because depending on your location. In Tampa, there was a ton of dogs at apartment complexes, or even if my dog was trained really, really well, I probably still would just leash him up. You never know what you're going to run into there. But if you have like a metro park or, a certain area, maybe at your apartment, if it's like midday where people are at work, that's a perfect opportunity to do it. If you don't have a flexi leash, if you have like a long line, attach that. And that'll also be a way where you can still have some control. You can step on that if your dog gets away, or if you think they might make a decision, you can step on it. And that brings me into another point I just remembered. Allow your dog to make the decision. It's a really good trainer. I'll tag him, who is really big on that. So what that means is, let's say you are a good distance from a dog, like not too close. You're walking, you go ahead and step on the leash and then just see what your dog does. See if your dog goes over to him, you're on the leash, you're fine. See if your dog looks back at you or just stares at the dog. That'll give you a really good understanding of, what your decision your dog's gonna make. If they come back to you, it's party time. I'm serious, y'all. You need to celebrate, cheer, treat, pet them. Who cares who's looking at you? That will show your dog that is the right choice. And it's even better if they did it on their own. But obviously, this is another opportunity to practice your recall as well. Just giving you two different perspectives on that. One, letting your dog make the decision to come back to you. And then the other one is obviously recalling your dog, hearing the command, and coming back towards you as well. Now, another thing that goes into this is pay attention. Whenever I'm walking off leash with Zoro, sometimes I'll have like a headphone in, but usually I'm just pretty locked in on the surroundings, because you need to be aware if a dog's coming, people hear the park rangers, but you just need to be aware. You can't really be texting on your phone, just walking with your head down, because you really never know. You need to always be aware and be confident. Your dog will sense that. Your dog will see that, you're walking, you're confident, you're looking around, and then normally you'll see it first. Boom, recall your dog. If you need to leash him back up, leash him back up. If it's something else that you want to practice, like let's say it's some geese, you can put them in heel on the opposite side, walk by, give them a treat, reward, letting them know to stay next to you is the best decision to make. So those are the main things there when you are walking your dog. Be smart though, guys. When in doubt, just leash your dog. But if you're in like a big field, that's the time to practice. Let your dog play, randomly recall. Boom. And don't be using the recall too much. Only use it when you have treats. So if you're just on a walk, you're not really practicing it, try not to use your dog's name as much. We can get into some other commands and things you can use, but that will just make sure the name is very, very, very valuable. Now, last thing we're going to talk about here today, guys, is just some very important commands that I like, and we'll have a video later on how to utilize these. So the first one is follow. Follow is just stay next to me. You doesn't need to be super focused, super tight. Just you're next to me. If I stop, you stop. If I turn around, you turn around. If I go left, you go left. And one thing in the video you're seeing right now that we'll do that I forgot to bring up is when you are walking off leash with your dog, every once in a while, you need to just stop walking. And even when you're on the leash, just stop walking. See if they get to the end of the line. Get to the end of the line, look back at you. Yes, treat, reward. And then when they are off leash, when you're walking, every once in a while, just stop. And that'll make sure your dog is aware of you at all times. Even sometimes he'll get locked in. I can see him. He's just following the scent. I'll just stop. And sometimes he'll get like a little bit, then he'll turn and be like, oh crap, sprint all the way back, reward, good job. And then as we keep walking, he'll start checking every, 5, maybe 10, 15 seconds, just making sure I'm behind him. So definitely do that. That's super important. Make sure your dog's always aware that, he needs to be at least able to see you at all times. Now, like I said, follow is a good command. Another one is touch. So touch is just another recall, honestly, because sometimes we overuse our dog's names. You say touch, that means nose to hand, no matter what. If they get close and you don't feel it, nope, touch. They have to do nose to hand. It's very important that we are consistent, so your dog has a clear image, and it's not like I can just kind of half put my head up there, because eventually that's what they're going to do. That's what Zoro does. He'll just throw his head up there, and I just stop walking, and then he'll, boom, do that again. Another one, obviously, the recall. So make sure you're practicing recall in a safer environment first to understand, how good or bad the recall is, what you have to look out for. And then another one would be heel, center, just some commands that you want your dog to be in if something does come up. And then lastly, these two are super important, wait and stop. So they're basically the same, wait, stop, same thing. But usually we use wait if he's like sitting in we're doing a command in training, I'll say wait, and then he knows to wait. The door's opening, he doesn't know that's to wait. If we're on a walk and he's in front of me and I yell stop, we're still working on that one, but that's where he needs to just stop. So how I practice that one is we're just walking, I say stop and I stop, he stops. So he starts to understand, and there are times where I'll yell stop and he will take a few more steps and stop. This is super important also, because if your dog is off leash and they're running towards the street, they're running towards something, these are just the other words you can use, so you don't just have one command if you need to get your dog's attention or get them back by you. All right, that was a little bit longer than I expected, but hope I provided some value for you guys. We're going to get into some more training tips and videos here. There's about 5-6 minutes left in this part 1 of the hike. You can stick around and watch it, but until next time, guys, like and subscribe.